Well, it's not your game. You didn't make the rules, so everything comes hard. And as long as you're signed to a contract, you're going to take a minority share of the winnings. A select few of us will do well, the majority will not. So as a people, we'll be considered a minority.
Prince showed me you didn't need anything more than what you already had. He taught me reinvention, always striving to become a new you than you were before. And yeah, just a lot of life lessons I got from the guy.
He's very mysterious. He loves to have all this mystery, and you don't know where he's going, what he's doing, what he's talking about half the time.
No, and he'll wear pumps and be looking at you like there's nothing wrong.
It's a double-edged sword, you know. A lot of artists aren't getting paid full scale for their art, and the internet, because of downloading and things like that, is kind of like a black hole, and it's hard to audit, it's hard to get accounting, and it's not that it's just about the money, but it's about justice and fairness. And when people say that they love you and they respect you, but at the same time take, you know, 80% of your earnings, then expect you to fix your own communities, and they'll probably edit all of this out, but that's the sharp part of the sword, and we're at the wrong end of it right now. So eventually, with courageous people going out there and actually saying something and standing up for it, I think we'll get some balance.
Prince was more than a musical genius. He was a rebel who dared to challenge the system. From his iconic hits to his fight for creative freedom, Prince wasn't just making music, he was breaking barriers. But his constant push for independence didn't come without risks. Many fans believe this fight put him on a collision course with the powerful forces within the music industry.
I met Prince when I was 12.
Where did you meet Prince when you were 12?
In Dayton. After
Really?
he performed at UD Arena. Yeah, I mean, I knew him my whole life. He was like the guiding force for me. It's the reason I had high self-esteem was because of him. Like, just a lot of things that I didn't...
Did he say something, or was his behavior inspiring and self-esteem shedding?
No, he wasn't really like that. He was a high thinker and a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever the curve was.
Now, comedian Katt Williams has stepped forward with some shocking claims, hinting that Prince's tragic end might not have been an accident. Katt suggests that Prince's outspoken behavior, especially his battle to own his music, made him a target. It's been 8 years since we lost the legend, but his war with the music industry still sparks heated debates, with sources saying whether Prince paid the price for standing his ground. Well, let's get into what Katt is revealing about Prince's mysterious passing and why many people believe his demise was not accidental.
He was just an amazing individual. I was able to meet him when I was 12, and I knew him my entire life through all of his changes. I was able to assist him many times. If you go look at Prince's car collection, you'll see that Prince don't have not one car Katt Williams ain't got. He got the Prowler from Friday After Next sitting there. He got the same Bentley as me, like, because we share certain things. Our connection was lyrics, musical lyrics, women, and cars. And those are the areas where he trusted my opinion on things. And that's where I got to be helpful in his life. And he was helpful in mine in really all different types of ways, especially about the business, as far as being a black man that was rich in this business at 18 years old, had already did his first $1 million contract, had already broken records, was determined that he didn't want to be like anybody else.
Prince's journey from a gifted teenager to a global music icon is nothing short of extraordinary. His groundbreaking album, Purple Rain, wasn't just a soundtrack. It was a cultural phenomenon that cemented him as one of the most influential artists of all time. The success of Purple Rain brought him fame, but it also marked the beginning of his struggles with the music industry. While Prince's talent was massive, what set him apart was his drive to control every aspect of his creative work. He didn't just want to make music, he wanted ownership of it. But the industry had other plans. Prince's fight for his music began to escalate in the early 90s during his public feud with Warner Bros. Records. He wanted control of his masters, essentially the rights to the music he created, but the corporation rejected his request. They saw Prince as a product, one they could profit from indefinitely, while he was fighting for his identity as an artist. In 1993, Prince made his frustration known to the world. He appeared in public with the word slave written on his face. It was a powerful message about how he felt trapped by his contract. As part of this rebellion, he also changed his name to an unpronounceable symbol. Media outlets and fans were forced to refer to him as the artist formerly known as Prince. These acts weren't just stunts. They were Prince's way of exposing the dark side of the music industry. In his own words, Prince once explained, "Warner Brothers took the name, trademarked it, and used it as the main marketing tool to promote all the music that I wrote. The company owns the name Prince. I became merely a pawn used to produce more money for Warner Bros." For him, it wasn't just about money. It was about the principle of ownership and respect for artists' rights.
The reason why it became such a big deal back then is ever since my third album, I wasn't really taking large advances from the recording companies. I was recording the albums myself in my own studio. So the way I looked at it, I owned the work because I paid for it. And I did all the work. I created it, so I felt like it should belong to me. That said, the companies felt otherwise. And they would always hold this contract up and say, well, you signed it. And I say, well, I understand that. It's not like I want to leave. I just want to, talk about this thing and see if we can't make it more fair. Of course, they wouldn't change, because if they changed, they wouldn't really exist. And that's kind of the situation we're in right today. They're not going to exist much longer.
Prince wasn't afraid of calling out the evil side of the music business. He criticized record labels, saying, "If you don't own your masters, your master owns you." This wasn't just a soundbite. It was a bitter truth about how the industry operates. Record labels often trap artists in contracts that strip them of their creative rights, turning them into money-making machines for the companies, while leaving them with little control over their own work.
It's not like we're against them or anything like that. The idea is that we find better ways of working with one another. It shouldn't be a situation where they own the album or the work. We're talking about intellectual copyright. If they're going to be indeed a delivery service, then that's fine. But even FedEx doesn't say that they own the thing that they ship, right? Ultimately, it keeps us apart, and it keeps the people in power in charge of us. So ultimately, we're going to have to learn how to be together and become one people.
Prince wasn't alone in this fight. Other legends like Michael Jackson and George Michael also spoke out against the music industry's practices. Michael Jackson, for instance, referred to record executives as devils and accused them of using other artists. George Michael described his contract with Sony as professional slavery. These icons shared a common struggle, a system that grows on control and suppresses any attempt at independence. But what made Prince unique was how far he was willing to go to challenge the system. While other artists might have settled or backed down, Prince doubled down on his independence. He created his own record labels, released music on his own terms, and encouraged other artists to protect their autonomy. His actions were commendable, but they also came with risks.
Well, unfortunately, like I said, music industry isn't being run by musicians. So it's being run by accountants and lawyers. So I don't know if they'd know real music if they heard it. What they're looking for is acts that are going to make the most money for them. So you'll see all kinds of little gimmicks, so to speak. And ultimately, real music is just about a microphone and a spotlight. If you can get over like that and bring the special effects within your body, then I think you're going to have a lot longer career.
The music industry has a history of clashing with young legends. Many of these artists, including Prince, faced not just professional setbacks, but personal tragedies. Prince's fans have said that his refusal to follow industry standards made him a target. His fight for ownership wasn't just a battle against Warner Music. It was a stand against an entire industry built on exploitation. But Prince didn't stop there. He took his battle to the next level, and that's when things got dangerous. One of Prince's greatest victories came in 2014, when he finally regained ownership of his music catalog. After years of battling with Warner Music, the rights to his masters were back in his hands. It was a rare accomplishment in an industry known for keeping artists tied to their contracts. Prince's persistence paid off, but his fight was far from over. Owning his masters meant Prince had full control over how his music was used, distributed, and monetized. For a man who valued creative independence above all else, this was a big moment. But this victory was short-lived. Just 2 years later, in 2016, Prince was found unresponsive in an elevator at his Paisley Park estate. Official reports cited an accidental overdose of fentanyl as the cause of his demise, but many fans and insiders found the timing suspicious. How could a man so careful about his health and lifestyle fall victim to such a tragic accident?
Good day. We are coming on the air with breaking news about the death of an American music icon. Prince, the innovative, one-of-a-kind artist who's given us so much great music over the decades, has been found dead at his Paisley Park compound in suburban Minneapolis.
Adding to the conspiracy was the legal issues surrounding Prince's estate after his passing. One of the most controversial aspects was Jay-Z's Tidal streaming deal. Before his demise, Prince had shown interest in Tidal, praising its artist-friendly approach to music streaming. However, after his death, a legal battle started between Prince's estate and Tidal over the rights to his catalog. Some folks said that the streaming deal had become another battleground for control over Prince's legacy, raising questions about who stood to benefit from his music. The fight over Prince's masters wasn't just about money, it was about preserving the integrity of his work. Fans couldn't stop wondering if his battle for independence had put him in the crosshairs of powerful industry forces. But here comes Katt Williams, a comedian known for his unfiltered takes on the entertainment industry.
I love you so much because you've always had this confidence, Katt, that nobody else has. And you say that it was your friendship with Prince that helped instill that confidence in you. Really?
Yeah, for sure. I met him when I was young, like 12, but
wow.
Prior to that, I thought like there were these things that needed to happen for me to be able to make the advance I needed to make. Like I needed another 5-6 inches in height. I was gonna need money, I was gonna need these things, and Prince showed me you didn't need anything more than what you already had.
In recent interviews, Katt has made explosive allegations, claiming that Prince's death was not as simple as it seemed. According to Katt, Prince's fight for autonomy, especially his determination to own his masters, made him a target for the higher-ups of the music industry. Katt suggests that Prince refused to get threatened by the system, a system designed to exploit artists and maintain control. By taking back his masters and speaking about the dark side of the industry, Prince may have disrupted the balance of elites, something that didn't sit well with people present at the top. These claims aren't without evidence. Katt draws chilling parallels to Michael Jackson, who also faced immense scrutiny and challenges after regaining control of his masters. Michael, like Prince, had accused the music industry of corruption and exploitation before his end in 2009.
Artists have been taken advantage of. James Brown to Sammy Davis Jr., some of the real pioneers that inspired me to be the entertainer that I am. These artists are always on tour because if they stopped touring, they would totally go broken. Record companies really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artists. Sony, Tommy Mottola. Tommy Mottola is the president of the record division. He is a mean, he's a racist, and he's very devilish.
Katt's allegations have reignited discussions about how outspoken artists often meet tragic ends. He questions the narrative surrounding Prince's death, arguing that it fits a pattern seen with other legends like Whitney Houston and George Michael. But what makes Katt's claims even more chilling is the evidence fans and insiders have uncovered over the years. The official reason for Prince's death has never sat well with many of his fans. Prince was famously health-conscious. He didn't drink, avoided illegal substances, and focused on a vegetarian lifestyle. So when reports stated that he passed away from an accidental fentanyl overdose, it left many people scratching their heads. How could someone so worried about his well-being fall victim to such a tragic mistake? Adding to the confusion was the discovery that the pills found in Prince's possession were counterfeit and laced with fentanyl. These pills weren't prescribed, and their origin remains a mystery, fueling speculation that something more sinister might have been at play. Was it simply a tragic accident, or was someone deliberately trying to harm him? Fans have pointed to Prince's own words in interviews, where he expressed his feelings on the music industry and hinted at forces that work against artists who refuse to bow down. Many people believe Prince knew he was being targeted, and his passing confirmed their suspicions. Even more interesting things are the messages from other artists, like Kanye West. Kanye, who has often spoken out about the darker side of the music world, once mentioned Prince and Michael Jackson in the same breath, hinting at a connection between their struggles and their passing. Kanye's comments have been interpreted as a warning about what happens to artists who stand up to the system, leaving us to wonder if Prince's fate was sealed the moment he reclaimed his masters.
If I was on medication right now, then one pill could have been swapped out and it would be Michael Jackson and Prince all over again. But because I didn't take the misdiagnosis and I didn't take the medication, I'm able to speak to you guys clear of thought and transparently.
Prince's death not only left a void in the music world, but also sparked a prolonged legal battle over his estate. Without a will, his multi-million-dollar fortune became the center of disputes among family members, lawyers, and corporations. The battle over his music catalog, in particular, highlighted just how valuable Prince's work remains even after his passing. In the years since his demise, Prince's music has generated enormous revenue, with posthumous releases and reissues, bringing his genius to a new generation of fans. This shows a harsh reality of the music industry. It often profits more from artists after their passings. Prince, who fought so hard to maintain control of his art, might not have wanted this, but it reflects an industry that lives on ownership and exploitation. And Prince wasn't the only one. Artists like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Tupac Shakur have all seen their estates generate massive profits after their sudden end, sparking debates about how much of this wealth actually benefits their legacies versus lining the pockets of corporations.
Generated several $1 billion for Sony. I own half of Sony's publishing and I'm leaving them, and they're very angry at me because of it, but I just did good business, you know. The way they get revenge is to try and destroy my album. And Tommy Mottola is a devil. I'm not supposed to say what I'm going to say right now, but I have to let you in on a secret.
Say it.
Mariah Carey, after divorcing Tony, came to me crying. She said to me that this is an evil man. And Michael, this man follows me, she said. He taps her phones, and he's very, very evil, and she doesn't trust him. And he is a horrible human being. We have to continue our drive until he's terminated.
For fans, this raises a heartbreaking question. Did Prince's fight for independence cost him his life? And if so, was it worth it? Prince's legacy remains a symbol of resistance, but at what cost? Well, what do you guys think? Do you believe Prince's fight for his freedom led to his end? Or was it simply a tragic coincidence? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because we've got even more bombshells coming your way in the next video. Stay tuned.